I'm Carol. I'm a Pilates instructor here at the Pilates Bar Studio. I'm going to be going through a quick pregnancy safe workout that you could do in the comfort of your own home without any equipment. So I'm just getting started here on the mat, but you can also do this on the carpet in your living room. I'm going to start with a wide sumo squat. So you have a slight turnout at your hips. Your feet are nice and wide, and then you'll just inhale, find your squat, and then exhale to rise. And it's just a nice slow and controlled motion. You're not forcing any movement. With me being, I'm about 26 weeks pregnant now, I just like to feel my muscles working. I just like to feel my blood circulating. I miss laying down doing footwork on the reformer, so this helps get that same engagement on the back line of my body, while still staying upright and keeping baby safe. Inhaling to squat, exhaling to rise, really squeezing on your glutes before you rise. And then we're gonna do 3 more here. Last 2, just bending at your hips, bending at your knees. And then we're gonna hold it on 1. And then you'll just find an alternating heel lift. Inhale to lift, exhale to lower, and then switch to your opposite foot. And you're really thinking about articulating the bones and muscles of those feet, finding this nice pliable foot as you lift. Good. Remembering to breathe. And then we'll do 1 more each side, making sure that you are even. And then you'll stack it all the way back up. Next, we're gonna move on to all 4s. So coming in a quadruped position, your hands are right underneath your shoulders. You can let your knees go just a little bit wider than your hips. You'll inhale, lift your gaze, arch your back for cat-cow, and exhale, tuck your chin, tuck your tail. Again, just focusing on the spinal mobility. You can go at the range and the pace that works for you. Just making sure that as you exhale, you're really hugging baby tight, feeling just a slight stretch of your belly, feeling all 10 fingers, standing strong through the tops of your feet, and then just moving your spine. Inhaling to arch your back, exhaling to curl. We'll do 2 more here. And then last set, finding a nice neutral spine. So we'll do a little bit of abdominal engagement and pelvic floor engagement with some bird dog. Let your left leg go straight back behind you. Let your right arm go straight out in front of you. And we'll hold this for 5 big hundreds breaths. Big inhale for 5 counts. And big exhale for 5 counts. You have just a soft flex in that left foot. Toes are slightly pointed towards the ground. You're really hugging baby up and in, and then just finding this breath. Easy inhale, relaxing through your shoulders, and breathing. 1 more big breath, and then you exhale for 5. Lower your arm, lower your leg, do a couple cat-cow to reset before we move on. Inhaling to lift your gaze, arch that back, and exhaling to curl that spine. Just for 1 more. And then finding that nice neutral spine, resetting yourself for your bird dog on your other side. Right leg straight back behind you, left arm straight out in front of you, holding baby up and in by engaging into that belly and that core. Slight flex of your right foot, and you're breathing. Big inhale for 5, big exhale for 5. You're strong in that right arm without locking into that right elbow, feeling that right glute engage, and keeping baby safe by holding your belly up and in. For 1 more big breath, and you exhale for 5. Lower that arm, lower that leg, and then go ahead and just sit back, take a child's pose. Your knees come nice and wide. Forehead comes down onto that mat if you feel good, if it feels good to you. And then let your arms go to the left side of your body, breathing through that right side body. And then walk your arms to that right side, breathing through that left side body. Coming back to center for one more big child's pose breath at the center. And exhaling that belly. Coming back onto all fours, just some hip mobility here. So just have your knees go back as wide as your mat. And just start rocking your hips back and forth. So not only is this good for your hip mobility, but you're getting your wrists nice and lubricated as well. Big inhale to sit back. Exhale brings you forward. Good. Do 3 more, just like this. Last 2. Last 1, and then do a big circle with those hips. So same principle, but you're introducing a little bit of rotation into this. Just going where it feels good. You're still holding baby up and in. And then just breathing, enjoying this range of motion and this movement. Still feeling all 10 fingers pressing into that mat. And we'll do 1 more each side, making sure that you are even. Good. Come back onto all fours. If it feels good to you, alternate flipping your wrists to the opposite side. So I've got my right fingers facing me here, and I'm just gonna breathe, slowly rocking myself forward and backwards, getting a forearm stretch and getting a wrist stretch. And 1 more breath. And then I'm gonna switch my hands to the other side. Left fingertips are now facing me. Just finding a slight rocking motion here. Big inhale and big exhale. Good. Finding a nice stillness. We're gonna stay with our hips here onto all fours. If this ever gets too much for you, you can always prop yourself up onto a folded towel or a folded mat if it's too much to stay on your wrists. But otherwise, we'll start with a sort of like I like to call it a little moving fire hydrant. So we'll start with our left leg. Our left knee stays bent. We lift it up back behind us, rotate it to the side, and then bring it back under us. So we're just focused on trying to isolate this movement in our left hip. So we're trying to keep our body as nice and still as possible, not overarching in that back. Baby is still nice and hugged in, trying to equally balance our weight in each hand, but isolating this movement in our left hip. We'll do 2 more this direction. Last one, freeze the leg and reverse. Open out to the side, reach to the top, and come back under you. So being very intentional with this motion. Good. Bringing that leg out to the side, feeling it circle, and coming back underneath you. We'll do 2 more. And last one. Good. If you need to, take a quick child's pose. Knees can go wide. Let your forehead come to that mat. And then you'll stack yourself up. And we'll do the other side. Coming back to all fours, finding that nice balance. And then that right leg straight out behind you. Or I should say knee bent with that leg out behind you. Finding this nice rotation as you work through this fire hydrant position and focusing on isolating that hip mobility. Standing equally across all 10 fingers. Good. We'll do 2 more. Last one before we reverse. Inhale, open to the side, lift to the sky, and pull it back under you. Good. Trying to keep as nice of a neutral spine as you can. Feeling baby is pulled up and in, and then focusing on that hip mobility. You should feel right glute is nice and warm. 2 more. Last one. And then go ahead and take your child's pose. Knees nice and wide. Sit on back and take a breath. Good. We're coming onto our knees into a tall kneeling position. Our knees are right underneath our hips. And we're just gonna take our arms into a cactus position. We're gonna inhale, reach our arms to the sky, and exhale, pull our arms back down. So as you are pulling your arms back down, you're also feeling your chest expand here. So there's just a very slight squeeze of those shoulder blades back behind you, but just trying to get a little extension, the tiniest extension in the front of your body while opening up that chest. Inhaling to reach, exhaling to pull. And then all the while, you're not just hanging out here, you feel the press of your glutes forward, hips are nice and open. So this is a full body exercise. Baby is staying nice and pulled in. We'll do 2 more. Chest nice and open for last one. Good. And then we'll go ahead and do a couple of more pelvic stability, pelvic mobility exercises here. We'll come onto our side for a little bit of side plank. So an option to do this on your hand, on your forearm, on your knees, on your feet. I'm gonna go ahead and come onto my knees and my forearm. And then you'll inhale, just lift those hips, arm to the sky. And we'll just hold this for 3 big breaths. Big inhale and big exhale. Good. Really squeezing the corset around you as you exhale. And then you can lower your hips and we'll switch to the other side. Kind of getting yourself lined up in this mermaid position, setting your forearm down by the side, lifting your hips and finding that breath. Big inhale and big exhale. Keeping your ribs knitted even here and holding baby up and in. Standing strong through the shoulder and then lowering those hips. Good. We're gonna go ahead and end standing straight up. We'll come straight to the sky. Just go ahead and lace your fingertips back behind you. Feel a pull of those fingertips as you reach the chest to the ceiling, finding that openness in the front line of that body. And just breathe. Big inhale and big exhale. And then we'll kind of stand the same way we started. We have a nice open stance, slight turnout of those feet, and then just find a forward fold here. Big inhale, lift those arms, tuck that chin, curl yourself forward. You can always do this with a yoga block if it doesn't feel good for your hands to touch the ground, but just kind of breathe. Slight bend in the knees. You can rock yourself back and forth. Find a stillness, and then find your hands on your hips as you carefully stack it up. And we are all done.